I try to answer questions for people, and this person is asking about cremation, if it is acceptable or not biblical. So let me just say it like this, and forgive me because what I'm about to say could, trigger people or be offensive. Everything's offensive in this day and age, I know. But I want you to think about this. Think about the folks who lost their lives in the 9/11 tragedy here. And most of those people, for the most part, were incinerated, okay? This is an example, and it's a very far-flung example to make a point, which is, if God basically can look at that event, and there were many people who were believers there, and put the pieces back together on that day, it's not the soul of the person. It's the body that has been destroyed. The soul instantaneously goes into, we'll call it, for lack of terms that are clear to everybody, let's call it a parallel universe or dimension, something that string theory is adequately explained, but for the average person, just think of it as another dimension. And it's not some holding place where you await your punishment, your fate. How you lived your life here in totality will be determined not by one incident or on one singular day. It's cumulative. It's your whole life. But for those, and this person in particular asking the question, I do not personally believe, if you think about it, the difference between a body being cremated and a body that will eventually, as is normal, decompose. So you tell me what's the difference. One is instantaneous and one occurs over time. So I don't know if that answers your question to you, but if you know what happens to the human body on a natural basis, decomposition is decomposition, and I hate to be that graphic because it's not the soul, it's the body. So the same thing is true about cremation, except basically, let's call it the expedited thing that God would eventually do anyway, all right? So I'm not saying do it or don't do it, I'm just saying don't make it a spiritual issue, because the matter is this body was not meant to be perpetuated beyond this confinement of time, period. So hopefully I've answered the question for you, and hopefully that helps.
To this house, magnify the Lord, lift up holy hands, our hearts in one accord, worship and bow down before Him, exalt His name today. Come into this house,